dudes? Got an old canoe right here, and we're gonna try our hand at restoring. This is an old Mohawk canoe from, I believe, the 90s. So from my research, it's made of a material called Royalex, which is pretty much a foam cooler, styrofoam cooler with vinyl wrapped over top of it. First, we're gonna assess the damage. We've noticed it's got a couple of kind of okay patches on it, but then if you see here, you've got this green tinge, and what that is actually the vinyl has worn off, and you're seeing the foam underneath it. So anywhere the green is showing, we're going to have to patch. The other places, it looks a little thin, we're gonna hope to cover with the marine paint and be all right. One here, pretty bad with some crackage. One here, you could see it's just worn down, a little bit of a divot. Bow area, we got this crappy patch going into probably like a long strip here. The last one here is a pretty heavy divot with the foam sticking out. First things first, we're just gonna give it an old soap and water rub down, get all the crap off of it. What we realized was that whenever we got the bottom of this thing wet, it revealed that there was a whole lot more of those green spots, meaning that it's very thin and the skin we got left is not very much before we might get a puncture wound. So you can see right here where we've applied some of the Royalex patch, it looks wet all the time. So that's what probably 60% of this thing looks like. So the important thing with Royalex is that fiberglass patches don't work on it. You saw the crappy patches we had before, and you can see they're chipping up. That's because they do not chemically bond with Royalex. It will work sort of, and in these areas where it doesn't flex, I think I'm okay with it. But in areas where it does flex, like along the hull, you gotta use this stuff. This is G-Flex by West Marine 650. It's actually recommended because it bonds chemically with that Royalex material, which is actually ABS. It's closer to ABS, like in your pipe. We're gonna run some big strips down here, so we'll get some footage of how we actually embed those fiberglass. All right, time to epoxy, okay? So let's read you some stuff. This says that its pot life is 45 minutes, working time 75 minutes, gel time 3 hours, initial cure time 7 to 10 hours. So some stuff you need to do it. Helps to have a crappy throwaway paintbrush, a crappy throwaway roller, and something to stir your stuff with, and something to hold your stuff in. Have your fiberglass strips cut and placed where you want them. And the process is as follows. We're going to mix up our stuff, put a layer of epoxy down, and then we're gonna lay this down on top of it and embed it into that epoxy. Then we're gonna come back with the paintbrush and kind of put some more over top of it so it's locked in. And then we're gonna go back with the roller and roll it over top of that. Now, as this stuff drips and it's on kind of a, uneven surface, you gotta come back and level it off every once in a while just so it doesn't look like absolute junk. And you save yourself a little time on smoothing over later. Back with PPE. Gloves to protect your hands and goggles to protect your eyes from becoming epoxied shut forever. All right, let's do it. Before you pour, you gotta remove the little plug. Try not to get those mixed up because you don't want your hardener plug getting stuck in the epoxy container and vice versa. We're gonna use all this up right now, so it doesn't really matter. You need to have something to cut off the tip from each of these. All right, it's not really exact science. You just want to use half and half. All right, let's see if we are at half. Now the hardener's really viscous. Oh man, we're at like 1/4. All right, now we gotta be at a half. Okay, now we mix. And it's goopy. You wanna make sure you mix it, because if you don't, it's not gonna work. So there's our 3 strips. We're going to remove them. Okay, so now we're going to lay down our fiberglass strips, and you can see it kind of embedding in there. Learn from our mistakes and don't do this on a windy day, because your fiberglass strips will be flying all over the place like some fiberglass pigeons or something, I don't know. All right, once that's down, we're gonna follow up with more. And I find that it helps to kind of go in a certain direction. So on the ends, you wanna go down the ends so you don't peel the sides up. You're gonna get these little fiberglass pieces that kind of unthread, but don't worry about that. Just another part of the stress. Once you feel like it's saturated, then you're good. You can kind of move on. So we set up our curing chamber here with trying to make it warmer in this room. And so if you can add, this is a really crappy space heater. We have some incandescent lights set up to just try to get it warmer in here, because the cure time on this is about 8 to 10 hours. But if you can heat it up, it will be faster. And you can see here, there's some milky kind of white spots. Those are places where it's definitely not cured. So if you have something set up like this, this could make it go a little faster before sanding. Or if it's a sunny day, just stick it outside. So we got to dry it off, and there's some very rough spots where the edges of the fiberglass strips are up here. So the plan is to take a rougher sanding pad like 80 and get those sharp edges down, and then follow up to try to smooth everything out with a 150 or 200. And make sure you wear PPE so you're not breathing in. Make sure you clean up your area. Primer is the next step. We are using Rust-Oleum Universal Bonding Primer. So grab your paintbrush, grab your brush roller if it still works. And the plan is to go get the finer details really close to this rubber part. And then roller the rest of it. Let's see how it goes. We actually got 2 primer coats with the 1 can we have. And for the color, we have 2 coats of this top side paint by Total Boat. Okay, this is after we've taken it out once, the finish. There's like a little bit of scratching on there, but I wanted to really show the texture here. So if we were gonna do this again, we'd probably take and sand down these strips a little better. I mean, we don't really care, because we don't care about the aesthetics, because we had this gigantic fiberglass patch here originally, which you could see the color we chose makes it look kind of bubbly. But yeah, that would be my only suggestion is if you were going to do this, try to sand these down a little better before you prime and paint. But other than that, the finish held up pretty good. All right, flipping this thing over, the interior I won't bore you too much with because it's not really that complicated. Just a couple of things I think I'll be fixing. Some awesome repairs were done here to replace the seats. This little crossbar is seeing better days. And same thing on these seats. So I think what we're going to do at a minimum is restain them, restain this crossbar, and replace this one screw here. And those are pretty easy. They look like they just have a little plastic cap on it, and then it's just a bolt, this screw here. All right, see you in a minute when they're done. All right, here's the finished version of the refinished center support here. All I did was just hit it with a bunch of stain. Now on the corner, I did have to use some plastic wood stuff to kind of stabilize that end before I sanded the whole thing and stained it again. But yeah, that came out all right. And what we ended up doing, I had to replace a couple of these posts and just random hardware screws. But what we end up doing, what you're seeing here, is instead of redoing the flat parts here, redoing the seat parts here, we covered it with some foam insulation here. And then the plan is to take this bleacher seat things. So these bleacher things have a little, these little locking arms that lock in pretty easy on here. So you could just, because they're made for hooking on the front of a bleacher. So we just put those there, let them go, fold that up, and this is solid as ever, and it allows you to have a back. Now you sit a little bit higher up than you would if you were on there, so your center of gravity a little bit higher on the boat, but the times we've taken out hasn't made any difference. So this is our solution, and the best part is when you're done, you just take them out, and then you don't have to worry about maintaining any seat. The other thing we did was took these out. I mean, it's very basic, easy stuff. Undo these. These had some rust on them, so we knocked that rust off and painted them, and that's pretty much it for the center or the inside of it. It works pretty well for us, and we're just gonna keep rocking with it until it explodes, I guess.
Since this canoe would not fit in my garage and we spent so much time restoring it, I figured we built a little house for it to live outside.
All right, here's kind of the final flyover of our little house here. I didn't get that much footage of doing it because it was kind of a wild and crazy throw it together type thing. So all we do is got kind of a 4x4 base here, and then we built some cantilevered beams coming off of here to support this roof. And then we realized that roof support would be way too heavy for just a cantilever to hold it up in a bracket. So we went back in and kind of last minute added these supports that go there. It kind of encloses the whole thing. If I was gonna do this again, I would probably spend the extra money to make this a little wider. It's gonna cover it for the most part, and that's the main goal, is to keep the leaves and crap off of it.
And that's all I got for this one, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you'll be restoring your own canoe soon. Or not, whatever. Until next time, this is Josh saying, get out there and go do some stuff.